The plane plummeted toward the runway. My gay secret had just cost me everything, until this moment. Alarms blared through the cockpit of Flight 472, a Boeing 747 bound from New York to Chicago, as wind shear slammed us like a freight train. I was Captain Ryan Hale, 32 years old, supposed to be grounded after the airline slapped me with an indefinite suspension 2 weeks earlier. But when First Officer Mike collapsed from sudden chest pain right after takeoff, and the relief crew was stuck on the ground in LaGuardia traffic, dispatch had no choice. They radioed me at the last minute because I was the only qualified captain nearby who could scramble aboard. Now, with engines struggling and visibility dropping to zero in the thunderstorm, every passenger's life hung on my hands. Rain lashed the windshield as I fought the yoke, my knuckles white. Chicago Tower, this is United 472, heavy. We've got severe turbulence and partial hydraulic failure. Request immediate ILS approach to runway 27L. The tower's voice crackled back, calm but edged with tension. Roger, for 72. Wind gusts at 35 knots. Cleared to land. Good luck, Captain. Luck? I almost laughed. Luck had abandoned me the day that photo leaked. A candid shot of me and Jake sharing a quiet dinner in a West Village bistro, his hand brushing mine under the table. Some jealous colleague from the crew lounge had snapped it on his phone and posted it anonymously on an airline forum. Captain Hale's secret life, the caption read. Within hours, HR called me in. We're investigating allegations of inappropriate conduct. They said, even though Jake was a flight attendant on a different route, and we kept everything private for 3 years. No rules broken, but the rumor mill didn't care. Suspended pending review. My career, built from Air Force flight school through 10 years of flawless service, dangling by a thread. Behind me, the cabin crew worked miracles, soothing panicked passengers as the jet bucked like a wild horse. I could hear the sobs, the prayers, the flight attendants' steady voices repeating, "Remain seated, please." My mind flashed to my parents back in Texas. Dad, a retired Marine who still called me son with that proud clip, and Mom, who baked pies and never asked why I never brought a girl home. They'd seen the news clip already. The suspension had made local headlines in Dallas. Local boy grounded over personal scandal. One station blared. I pushed the thought away. Focus, Ryan. The altimeter spun downward. 2,000 feet. 1,000. The runway lights pierced the gloom like beacons of hope I didn't deserve. Flaps 30. I called to myself, trimming the aircraft manually since the autopilot had given up. The plane shuddered again as crosswinds tried to shove us sideways. I countered with rudder and ailerons, muscles burning. This wasn't just a landing, it was redemption in real time. If I screwed up, not only would lives end, but the rumors would twist into gay pilot crashes plane. The headlines wrote themselves. 500 feet. The wheels kissed the wet concrete with a jolt that rattled my teeth, but I held her steady, reverse thrust roaring as we slowed. Smoke trailed faintly from the left engine. Minor, but enough to make the fire truck scream onto the tarmac. We rolled to a stop, and the cabin erupted in cheers. Passengers clapped, cried, hugged strangers. I exhaled for the first time in what felt like hours, forehead pressed to the yoke. Mike was already being wheeled out by paramedics. The ground crew swarmed us. Then the media vans appeared at the gate, lights flashing. A reporter shoved a mic toward the window as I stepped off. Captain Hale, you were suspended over gay rumors. How does it feel to be the hero today? My stomach dropped. The secret wasn't hidden anymore. It was broadcast live. I walked through the terminal in a daze, uniform soaked with sweat, ignoring the stares. Jake waited at baggage claim, his flight attendant uniform crisp, eyes red from worry. He pulled me into a quick hug, careful not to linger. You did it, Ree. You saved them all. His voice cracked. We met on a layover in Miami 3 years ago, shared coffee, then secrets under palm trees. He was out to his family. I wasn't. I love you, he whispered now. But this changes everything. I nodded, throat tight. My phone buzzed nonstop. Airline brass demanding a debrief, parents texting call us now, and that colleague who leaked the photo, pretending concern. The suspension wasn't lifted yet. Hero or not, the rumors had teeth. As we drove to my apartment in silence, the city lights blurring past, I wondered if saving 200 lives was enough to save myself. The night stretched long ahead, full of questions I'd avoided for years. The morning after the landing, Chicago's O'Hare terminal buzzed with my name on every screen. Hero pilot lands plane despite suspension. The headline screamed, but the subtext lingered. Gay rumors cloud captain's victory. I sat in the airline's executive lounge, tie loosened, staring at the official letter still clipped to my file. Temporary suspension pending full investigation into reported personal conduct. Jake had stayed over, but we barely slept, his hand in mine under the covers, words unspoken. "You can't keep hiding forever," he'd said at 3 a.m. Not after this. I wanted to argue, but the mirror showed a man exhausted from pretending. HR called me in at noon. 3 suits waited. The director, a lawyer, and a union rep. The board reviewed the incident. The director said, voice neutral, "Your actions were exemplary. Passengers and crew are praising you publicly. However, the rumors we have to address them." I sat straighter. The photo was private. Jake and I are together, yes. It doesn't affect my flying. The lawyer slid papers across. "We're reinstating you provisionally, pending a formal hearing next week. But media pressure is intense. Some shareholders are calling for stricter policies." I signed without hesitation. Outside, Jake waited with coffee. His smile was tired. "One step," he said. We walked the concourse like any crew, but every glance felt loaded. That evening, my parents' video call from Texas. Dad's face filled the screen first, jaw set like old military days. "Son, we saw the news. Landing was textbook. But this gay thing, is it true?" Mom hovered behind, eyes worried. I swallowed. "Yeah, Dad, it's true. Jake's my partner." Silence stretched. Dad exhaled. "We raised you right. This is not what we expected." Mom cut in softly. "We love you, Ryan. Just give us time." The call ended awkwardly, but it was progress. Jake squeezed my shoulder. I didn't hang up. That's huge. The next days blurred into interviews and debriefs. A rival pilot from my old squadron leaked more details online. Old Air Force buddies speculating I'd hidden it during service. Betrayal stung. We'd flown missions together. Jake and I argued in the kitchen. "You're still protecting everyone but us," he said, voice rising. "I'm tired of being your secret." I pulled him close. "I'm trying. The hearing will change it. But doubt not." That night, alone after Jake left for his shift, I replayed childhood memories. Little League in Dallas. Dad teaching me to throw a curveball, never once suspecting. College first crush on a roommate buried deep. The Air Force, where don't ask, don't tell lingered in culture even after repeal. Flying became my armor. Now it was cracking. By Friday, the airline scheduled the hearing for Monday. Media camped outside my building. I slipped out the back with Jake for a quiet walk along Lake Michigan. Waves lapped as we talked real futures. Maybe moving to a smaller city, starting fresh. "Whatever happens," he said, "I'm here." His kiss under the street lamp felt like the first honest one in weeks. Back home, I drafted my statement for the hearing. No more hiding. The storm that nearly downed the plane was nothing compared to the one inside me now. Monday arrived with rain again, fitting. The hearing room at airline headquarters smelled of coffee and nerves. Union lawyers flanked me. Jake sat in the back row, support in his eyes. The panel, 5 executives, flipped through reports. "Captain Hale," the chair began, "your emergency landing saved lives. But the conduct allegations remain. Explain the relationship." I leaned forward. "Jake Reynolds is my partner. The photo was innocent. No policy violated. My record speaks for itself. Over 5,000 accident-free hours." They probed. Did it affect crew dynamics? Had I been distracted? I answered steady, voice calm from years in cockpits. Then the twist hit. The colleague who leaked the photo, Mark, a senior attendant I'd once mentored, testified via video. "I thought it was for the airline's image," he claimed. But his eyes darted. Later, Union dug up texts showing jealousy over my promotion. Betrayal clarified. He wanted my spot. The panel recessed. Jake met me in the hall. You were strong. We grabbed lunch nearby, hands brushing under the table. I misjudged you, he admitted. You're fighting now. Back in, the chair announced provisional reinstatement with sensitivity training for the crew. Your heroism outweighs the rumors, she said. Applause for my union rep. Outside, reporters swarmed. Captain, will you come out publicly? I paused and nodded. Yes, I'm gay and proud. The words hung, freeing. That night, Jake and I celebrated quietly, dinner, wine plans. But family loomed. Dad called again. Son, we're trying. Your mom watched the clip. She cried happy tears mostly. Progress slow but real. Flashbacks fill my evenings. Joining the Air Force at 22, hiding crushes during deployments. First flight as commercial pilot, thrill masking fear. Meeting Jake on that Miami layover, his laugh, easy confidence. We built a life in stolen moments, weekends in cabins, whispered I love yous at gates. The rumors shattered that peace, forcing growth I dodged. Now, reinstated, I flew again. My first post-hearing trip was to Denver. Cockpit felt different, lighter. Passengers recognized me, thanked me. One older man shook my hand. You showed courage in more ways than one. Jake flew the same route as crew. We shared glances, professional but warm. Yet conflict simmered. Mark apologized privately, but damage lingered. A few crew members distanced themselves. I confronted one in the lounge. It's my life, not yours. He shrugged, just surprised. Small wins. At home, Jake and I talked futures, maybe marriage after the dust settled. No more secrets, I promised. He smiled. That's the man I fell for. The pivotal choice crystallized. Authenticity over comfort. The landing had been physical. This was soul deep. Family dinner plans formed for Thanksgiving. Dad's text. Bring Jake. Simple words, massive. Thanksgiving in Texas brought the real test. I drove with Jake from Chicago, nerves building as cornfields gave way to suburbs. My childhood home looked unchanged, white picket flagpole. Dad greeted us at the door, handshake firm for Jake. Good to meet you properly. Mom hugged us both, tears in her eyes. Dinner's almost ready. Conversation started stiff, football, weather, but eased. Dad asked about the landing. I recounted details. Jake added crew perspective. Bye-bye, Dad nodded. Proud of you, son. Both of you. No grand speech, but acceptance bloomed. Jake squeezed my knee under the table. Back in Chicago, routine returned. I flew international legs, Jake on overlapping schedules. Our relationship deepened. No more hiding at work. We held hands in crew briefings when appropriate. One flight to London, turbulence hit again. I handled it smoothly. Passengers cheered. Post-landing, Jake met me at the hotel. You're unstoppable now. But inner work continued. Therapy sessions unpacked years of shame. You sacrificed authenticity for approval, the counselor said. I nodded. The betrayal from Mark taught forgiveness. I even recommended him for a training role. Growth tasted bittersweet. A new conflict arose. Airline PR wanted me for campaigns. Diversity hero, they called it. I hesitated. It's not a gimmick. They agreed to keep it real. Jake and I filmed a short video. Our story, the landing, living openly. Views skyrocketed. Comments poured in. Support from pilots worldwide. Stories from young crew coming out. One message from a teen in Ohio. You gave me hope. That hit hardest. Family evolved too. Mom sent care packages with notes for Jake. Dad shared old flight stories, admitting past biases from his Marine days. World changes, he said. Yet a misunderstanding nearly derailed us. Jake saw me laughing with a new co-pilot at a bar during layover. Jealousy flared. You hiding again? He accused back at the hotel. I explained it was mentorship. We talked through the night, tears and hugs. I choose us, I said. The fight strengthened us. Pivotal choice solidified. Love first, career second. I turned down a high-profile desk job to stay flying with Jake. Together in the skies, we joked. The story spread, documentaries approached, but we kept it personal. Winter brought the climax. A major storm grounded half the fleet, but my route to Seattle pushed through. Mid-flight, mechanical warning lights flashed. Same hydraulic glitch as the big landing. Passengers sensed tension. I radioed calmly, Jake coordinating cabin. "We've got this," I told him over intercom privately. Descent into Seattle-Tacoma tested every skill. Crosswinds battered us, but I landed flawlessly. On the ground, Jake hugged me openly in the jetway. My hero again. Media waited, but this time I smiled. Team effort. And yes, my partner's right here. The public coming out moment felt natural. Back home, reflection hit. The suspension had forced honesty. Without it, I might have stayed hidden forever. Jake planned a small proposal. Nothing flashy, just us on a beach during layover. I said yes. Family celebrated via video. Dad raised a toast. To the Hale family. Expanded. Friends from the airline threw a party. Even Mark attended, amends made. The twist of betrayal became bridge to better culture. Airline updated policies. Sensitivity training became standard. I spoke at crew seminars, sharing the journey. Fear keeps you grounded. Truth lets you fly. Inner peace settled. Therapy ended. I journaled instead. The psychological weight lifted. No more double life. Growth showed in small ways. Confidence in briefings, openness with passengers. One flight, a young gay flight attendant confided fears. I mentored him like I wish someone had. Jake and I bought a condo, blending lives fully. The landing wasn't just survival, it was rebirth. Spring painted Chicago green. Jake and I stood on the lakeshore, rings exchanged quietly months earlier. No big wedding yet, simple hours. I flew my usual routes. Hero status faded to normalcy. Passengers still recognize me sometimes. "Thanks for showing it's okay," one said. The airline thrived with inclusive changes I'd helped spark. Family visited, Dad fishing with Jake, bonding over stories. Mom planned holidays together. The misunderstanding, betrayal, sacrifice, all led here. My pivotal choice, to embrace truth, brought peace. The plane's deadly landing mirrored my life's crash and recovery. No more secrets. I stood taller in the cockpit. Jake's photo now openly on my bag. Colleagues respected it. The journey complete, but growth ongoing. In reflecting on this tale, I see authenticity demands courage, but rewards with freedom. The lesson? Hiding who you are clips your wings. Face the storm, land true, and you'll soar higher with those who matter. Live openly, love fiercely. It's the only way home.